If you've ever looked at a town like Moscow, Idaho and thought, what would I even do for work there? You're not alone. This is one of the core concerns I hear from people considering a move. Families, remote workers, even retirees, they're all asking the same thing. Is this a place where I could realistically earn a living? I'm Chris Carpenter, a longtime resident and real estate agent here in Moscow, Idaho. I've been here for 11 years now, and because of my occupation, I get to know a lot of people who are both longtime residents and those looking to move. So you're in good hands. In this video, we're going to unpack the employment landscape here in Moscow and the surrounding areas. Moscow isn't the right fit for everyone, and one of the biggest deal breakers for people is employment. So by the end of this video, I want you to be able to answer the question, could the employment opportunities in Moscow meet my needs? To get there, we'll cover who the biggest employers are and what kinds of jobs are available. On the surface, there's also a misconception about what people earn here in Moscow. We'll go over that too because the true earnings might surprise you. Finally, for those of you bringing your job with you, or if you have a job requiring frequent travel, I'll address internet and travel options at the end. On this topic, context is everything because what you earn is relative to how much it costs to live in an area. So if you haven't watched our video on the cost of living in Moscow, Idaho, I'd recommend watching that first and then coming back to this video. With that said, let's get into it. When it comes to major employers, there's only a handful. In Moscow proper, the University of Idaho is by far the largest. It employs 4,400 people across faculty, administration, and campus operations. Also in Moscow, you've got Grytman Medical Center with over 700 employees in healthcare roles. But if you're open to working across the state line in Pullman, just 8 miles away, there's Washington State University, one of the largest employers in the region, and Schweitzer Engineering Labs, which has over 2,000 employees and global reach. Pullman Regional Hospital also lands on the list with over 500 employees. Beyond these, most employers in the area fall into the small to mid-size category. Local shops, government services, education, and hospitality make up a lot of the local economy. Moscow's economy isn't huge, and it's not especially varied, but there are consistent opportunities in both white-collar and blue-collar roles. Overwhelmingly, the biggest concentration of jobs here is white-collar occupations in education and healthcare. A lot of that comes from the University of Idaho and Grytman Medical Center, but you'll also find plenty of administrative, clerical, and student support roles. Though blue-collar jobs are the minority in Moscow, construction and skilled trades are still in high demand, mainly because housing development hasn't kept up with the population growth. So if you're a builder, electrician, or plumber, your skills are very much needed here. Retail and food services round out a good chunk of the job market. So there's a consistent stream of essential, service-oriented, and infrastructure-based work that supports the town year-round. Switching gears now. When we're talking about what people actually earn here in Moscow, there's one very important thing that we have to remember. The median household income is massively affected by the student body at the University of Idaho. And if we just looked at median household income in Moscow, it sits at about $56,000 a year. Given the high demand for housing resulting in higher housing costs, at first glance, that seems pretty bleak. How in the world could people afford to live here? But when we filter out the student body and focus on family income, the median household income jumps to about $84,000 a year, which looks a lot better. If you're between 25 and 44 years old, the average income here is about $70,000, and for 45 to 64, it rises to about $75,000. And if you're wondering what type of lifestyle that will afford you in Moscow, we have a video that includes a comparison of some major cities across the country for you to check out. But in short, life in Moscow with $75,000 is pretty close to what life in a big city like Seattle looks like if you're earning over 6 figures. These numbers obviously vary based on your profession, education level, and whether you're working locally or remotely. And that's a great segue. What about remote workers and frequent travelers? Though it's a small town in a more rural setting, Moscow's set up for you too. Most of Moscow is covered by Ziply Fiber, which offers high-speed fiber optic, which should give you plenty of speed. And it's super common for people just outside of town to opt for Starlink. For the travelers, you've got the Pullman Moscow Regional Airport right down the road, which has a direct connection to Seattle, And we also have the Spokane International Airport about 2 hours north for broader travel options. So if you're bringing your job with you or you need to travel for work, the infrastructure here can support that. At the end of the day, every move comes down to what matters most to you. We looked at the types of jobs that exist in and around Moscow, who the major employers are, what people actually earn, and how well remote workers and frequent travelers are set up. And I hope this gives you a clearer picture of what the employment landscape really looks like in Moscow. If you found this helpful, subscribe. We've got a lot more to come. We're planning to cover everything from Moscow basics to family life, Moscow lifestyle, recreation, retiring here, business and entrepreneurship in Moscow, and healthcare. So hit the bell icon to get notified when we release our next video.